right, should we dive in?
Yeah.
Fucking slave and shit about other stuff that we probably have no business discussing.
Oh, I hope that our little impromptu chat there wasn't better than what's about to come up.
So I've been coming to you for a while, and I first started off with like massages and then dry needling as well. But it was like, I feel it was more, I wouldn't say quick fix, but it was for stuff that I had going on. So like traps that were like solid, that all got fixed. Biceps, triceps, which was sweet and worked. Really good. Dry needling was not a fan of to start with because I just didn't want a fan of needles, but actually was amazing. But then we started doing the what you've now labelled the Physio MOT service, which is amazing. So basically running through a heap of checks, seeing what's going on exactly with combining your expertise and the tech that just puts it into data, which is awesome because you can see all the numbers. And then again, the retesting, everything that we're doing in between that, and then I'm fixed. Yeah. It's kind of like, that's amazing to me, and the way it's changed with training and everything. So do you want to explain or run me through like what exactly Physio MOT is, in a way that everybody will understand, not the way that I like describing it, is just magic fixed.
Well, essentially that, if we want to put it as that, it absolutely can be. What we want to do is, some physio, and we talked about this before, it can look like magic. When you're not sure what's going on. We want to be as transparent as possible and let you know what you're paying for and what the end results are going to be. And we wanted to do that with data. So the general idea is we collect a lot of data about you. That's when the physio magic happens. We start piecing things together from what we know about you, from what we can see in the data, and then where you want to go. And that helps us inform us to build a plan there. What happens really is we have a discussion like we did with you. What are you struggling on? At the time you were in competition prep, so we didn't change much. It was just keep the niggles down, get into, get you through the competition, and then let's look at your movement. So what we did, sat down, discussed where you were struggling, the lifts, your training, where your training's been focused, and then we took you downstairs, put you on the motion capture technology. So what it is you stand in front of a camera, it calibrates you, we can look at your posture, you just turn around and it notices any side-to-side changes. What we then do is get you into certain movements. So the first one is quite a long process. We have to go through the full upper body movement. We then go through the full trunk, and then we go down to the legs, and we do things like lunge, overhead squat, and single leg squat. Really looking for any changes between them. That could inform us to potential weaknesses, tightness, or just reluctance to load into there. So for example, for you, if you don't mind me saying, you were quite reluctant to load into knee bend. So quads were not happy taking weight. So when you were leaning back, it was all in the lower back. When you were squatting, it was all hip hinge, or it was majority hip hinge. We then put you onto the dynamometer, which is a strength testing machine, and then looked for the ratio of strength in your hamstrings and your quads, and then found that it was, your quads just weren't where they needed to be. So that informed you to then go, right, well, I'm going to add a load of squats in, I'm going to add hack squats, I'm going to do a lot of quad work. We then do a review. So after the motion the chat, the motion capture, the dynamometer, we put together a plan for you. A couple of exercises to add into your routine, as well as changing up your normal programming. And that can look different for other people. You're quite confident with your programming, so you did that. We also offer a service where we could take over your programming as well and say, okay, well, we're going to work together for 12 weeks to fix these issues and get you back on track. So our level of involvement between then and your follow-up will depend on how much you need, really, and how much you want. We then do a follow-up and we retest specifically where you were tight, where you were weak, and where you were slightly immobile. And then what we noticed for you, huge improvement. And then so it's really targeted, and the idea is it's a way for us to see, well, is this working? And it's a way for you that you don't have in traditional physiotherapy to say, well, Ewan, this isn't working. And I can see I've got no better in the past 4 weeks. What are we going to do about it? You know, right, okay, well, we have to change X, Y, and Z. Let's meet back up in another 4 weeks. And then if it's not, it will. It does. Always has. But if it's not changed, then that's your ability to go, I'm out. Which hasn't happened yet. So.
It's not, no, because and putting the numbers on it as well, like it's proof in it. It's like, yeah, we know you've gotten better, but here's by how much. Do you know what I mean? So it looks, but it's something tangible, I guess. It's something that you can actually see has changed and it's improved, and then it gives you kind of motivation, I guess, to go and do more of it to see how much more you can improve.
Absolutely.
And like you were saying, like, it was quite a long process at the start, but I mean, what, like 40-50 minutes maybe? That was whole body, but then because we realised like the upper body there's no really any issues there. Power outputs were fine, the balance between sides was fine, there was kind of no discrepancies there. I was basically perfect on the top.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, you're definitely getting that in.
But yeah, the lower body was definitely slacking, and it was probably just through compensations that I'd naturally done through training because I didn't know any better, and because my lifts were fine, they were fine until they weren't, and then I was getting pain, and it was tight, especially in the knees. Noticed my ankle mobility, and then obviously that it kind of confirmed that, but then also showed balances because it was different on both sides as well, and then as well as the compensation with basically the back side of everything was taken over the front side where it was slacking. And it was kind of uncomfortable to then force the quads in the front to take over and force some mobility into the ankles, but then it didn't take long for that was sorted and fine, and I feel awesome now, and knees hardly ever hurt. And obviously that balance has come back. So I think there's still some balance between sides, isn't there?
Yeah.
But it's narrower.
Yeah, it's come down quite significantly. And generally we would expect, unless you're a kind of unilateral athlete like a thrower or something like that, you are going to be a few percentage points favouring your stronger side. So that's quite natural. We're mostly within that range for you. Again, what I want to discuss with you as well is how did you feel going away from that Physio MOT? Because I think some people could potentially feel like, God, I've just been ripped up. I thought I was doing really well, and I've had people say that, and they're like, oh, it doesn't feel like that's the way it should be. Yeah. And you say, well, trust the process, and they have, and they've come back and they're like, oh yeah, that was the case. But I want to know, like, from your point of view, how did you feel? Because you're like, I'm strong.
It was a bit of a, I suppose it could be a slap to the ego, getting told like you're weak. But I guess I obviously knew there was something up that wasn't right, and I always looking to improve. Obviously, fully trusted you and everything that was getting said. So, it was like, I don't know. I guess I'm quite humble in that respect. Although I need quite a bit of an ego to compete. At the same time, I'm humble enough to accept that I could do a lot better. So it was like a case of not really feeling defeated, but like, all right, if I go and do this, I could be even better. So that was kind of motivation for me to go and see how much I could change and improve for the next time, which worked well for me. But yeah, I get it could be a slap to the face, like getting told like basically you need to sort this because it's not right. And I suppose because you get so used to your own compensations things, you don't really feel like there's anything wrong until you're told that there is, and then it's going to be slightly uncomfortable, maybe get correcting it. But I think once you realise like the way it should be, and that you could be better that way, it's going to feel nicer anyway. And then you realise looking back, that was never going to go far. Yeah,
you sort of reached that ceiling with the level of compensation and the level of efficiency that was there. Because I don't think people realise how, most strength gains just come through efficiency of movement. Having the whole body working together, and that's partly what we do with the Physio MOT, is seeing like, well, why
how efficiently you're moving.
Why can't you squat?
Yeah.
Squat. Everyone should be able to squat. You get people who kind of fall right back. You get some people who fold in half, and it's why it's a basic movement pattern that we should have. So it's really for everyone. A lot of the people that we've had right now have been athletes, but some people are starting to see the benefit of just
doing it
day to day. Yeah.
So like you deal obviously a lot with athletes. I'm obviously coming from an athlete's point of view, but I'd be super interested to see this just for the average person that's not particularly training for anything. Doesn't have to be even necessarily unfit or anything, just in general, because even if you're not training or exercising regularly, you're going to have your kind of norms of movement. So say like an office worker, for example, like typically developing worse and worse posture if they're not doing anything about it. I reckon they would do really well from coming in and seeing exactly what's going on and then doing something to fix it, because let's face it, it's only going to get worse. Do you know what I mean? It's not going to ever get better. And that puts exactly what's on it. And like you say, you can do the programming for them if they're not confident doing that. So then it takes all the questioning out of it. You've been given the answer. All you have to do is go through these movements, come back, retest, and see what the improvement is, and you're going to feel better for it. Do you know what I mean?
And as you said, without intervention, nothing changes. And you can sit and say, oh, I know my posture's bad, and I know I sit for too long in this sort of posture, and I need to get up and move around. How are you doing that? Why do you break up, and how do you break it up, and what's the end goal? And people say, I know I need to do it. So that's kind of like, but it's how do I do it? So what we say is that there's known unknowns. So like, oh, I need to look at exercise. So exercises to correct my posture. I need that. And there's unknown unknowns. There's all this stuff that you have no idea that could be feeding into this, or it could be as a result of your programming, of your movement, of everything. And this just helps clear up some of the unknown unknowns. And just get everything in a line so that we can say, if we tackle A, B, and C, we will get you to your goal. Just share some of the successes that we've had with it recently. Even just doing a strength assessment, so really guided using the valve dynamo there. It's people were really shocked. I had one client who had a sore ankle for the past 30 years since they were a kid, went over it, and they've had a bad hip recently as well, to the point that they couldn't do a leg, they couldn't do that. Not even just body weight. They could walk around and things, but specific quad movements or specific hip flexor movements and external rotation, they couldn't do it. And then there was a 60% difference in strength between their left hand side and their right hand side. Now that, to anybody looking, go like, that doesn't sound right. And it turned out it was neurological. They had a nerve impingement in their lower back. So we did some stretching of the lower back, tested again. That gap closed from 60 to 23%. Just by taking some impingement off the lower back. We got them. I got them on the motion capture and got them to move, get some baselines, and they were really avoiding this side. They were way over here. So and then we just kept checking that and seeing them move back again. But without the dynamometer, you would just think that's a sore hip. Let's just get it stronger. And then when you're not listening to them saying, I'm trying to get stronger, I can't lift weights because I'm in so much pain and it's so weak. We popped them on there, and then now they had their last session 2 days ago, and the side that we've been working on is now their stronger side. Which is just crazy.
That's amazing.
Go from like a 60% difference to 2-3% to the other side, and that's like that's a perfect example of unknown unknowns. I know my hip is weak. I know I can't lift my leg. I know my ankle's sore. Why? I've tried strengthening. What could there be? So that's an unknown unknown. We then just use this to identify it. And what's cool with that is it's slight accidental finding. And then that changed the progress of just, well, really, not to oversell, it's changed the progress of her life in her views. So
how many times do people just carry on with just the way it is rather than doing something about it? I mean, I was really bad for it as well. I had about a year where I just couldn't move my head at all. So I just got used to moving my entire body, and I'm like, it's just how I am now. I like couldn't move it side to side or anything. I had went and seen Jane at that time, and she like one session, I'm like, holy shit.
Oh, she's great.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm like, why was I living like that for like an entire year?
Yeah.
It's so silly. But yeah, that's the thing. Like, do you get, you're saying neurological, so I get in PT, a lot of people's limitation is not muscular or movement at all, it's in their head. And it's, especially when they've had an injury before, or they've felt a little twang or something, and they're like, no, it's going to hurt, so they don't try at all.
Yeah.
So, for example, I had a guy on the leg press, and we were doing single leg stuff. And with one leg, he was really strong. He knew he was strong on that leg. That was his strong side, and he understood it was strong side, and so no problems at all. We'd fire it up, absolutely fine. And he would tell me before he pressed every time that the second leg was his weak leg, so I'll just see how it goes. I'm like, right, okay. And right enough, it was slower, it was more shaky, it didn't move as good, and he seemed to be a lot weaker. I'm like, just out of curiosity, just do this for me. Just don't tell me it's your weak leg at all. Let's pretend it's your strong leg, and I want you to, like, full force. Imagine it's going to go really well, and just throw it through the wall. And he did, and it was amazing, and it matched up with his other leg, and he was like, I don't understand. I'm like, it's self-limiting beliefs. You've put that in your head, and so your body's copying. It's just doing what you've told it it's going to do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Is that a thing that you can kind of prove with doing this as well? Like, it is kind of in your head, and you can fix it a lot just by doing that.
Absolutely, yeah. As you said, self-limiting beliefs. You know, it's like that. It's like some Darren Brown stuff. You know, you were brave all along. You've always had the ability to fly a plane. You just need a terror attack to show you can. It's the exact same thing here. People have these beliefs, and they get an injury, and then they sort of backdate it.
Yeah. And
they go, oh well, I guess I've always had a bad back. I'm like, no, you haven't.
Yeah.
You haven't. You didn't have it when you were a kid, when you were, rolling off the monkey bars and things. And you're falling flat on your back and then jumping up, and then you're made of rubber and magic, and you're away again in 20 seconds once you've caught your breath. Yeah. So people come in and they, like, again, put them on the strength test, and they're like, oh, you're going to find, left side's weaker, and you're like, you're the same. You've
already made that assumption, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, push, keep going. And I'm like, there's no difference. Yeah. There's no difference. So we need to think of something else. But yeah, it's just people, people do have this, oh, well, I've always been like that. And you're like, okay, always. I mean, you talk back. And we always do things like, what makes you think that? When did you first believe this? How does this affect, how does X affect Y? And we always try and dig a little bit deeper as to what's the true reason why you're here. And if you'll say, I've always had a bad back, and okay, well, what's made you come now? And it's things like, I want to play football with my kid.
Okay, yeah.
So those self-limiting beliefs have real world consequences as well. From outside of the gym, they go, well, I can't actually run around and play football with my kid because my back is sore. Yeah. So they'll come to you and they're like, I want to get stronger, but it's always that. What's the real reason? Dig a bit deeper and you find it.
That could be highly motivating as well. Yeah. That being the reason. Danny and I have talked about this before, kind of going off on a tangent, but people using their kids as an excuse to not get stronger or be fit, and it's like, no, it's their time after I've not got time, I don't want to be with them. Actually, that should be your reason to be stronger and be fitter, and setting examples and being able to actually play with them, run about with them, get on the floor. Do you know what I mean? That should be more than enough reason.
Yeah, exactly.
That's wild. So I get this kind of, I don't know if it's a feeling, a vibe I get off people when you talk about strength. People automatically assume like, so when you when we're talking about strength testing, it's not, you don't have to be strong to do it. It's finding out whatever your levels are. It's all relevant to the person. It's not like you're not going to come in and have to squat 200 kilo.
Yeah,
So-
exactly. Yeah, pick that up. You
Yeah.
can't pick that up.
Then
you're
you're weak,
rubbish.
yeah.
Go home. You're useless.
Yeah.
People get scared of it, and I'm like, look, it's gonna be tiring. Like pushing full force is gonna be tiring.
Yeah.
And well, it's tiring for me as well. See, strength testing you. Like, we obviously had to go to the bands and put you on the squat rack downstairs to do your quads because you were just lifting me up. So I was like, right, pull that squat rack out the wall, and you gave it a bloody good go. People hear strength testing and they hear strength and they think hard work.
Yeah.
And we know it is. It's moderately hard work, but it's not the days of Dorian Yates screaming in the gym. It can be just a nice, slow, fun process.
Yeah.
And if you fall in love with the process, and that's what we try to do with this, is get people to, this is the goal, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
But you have to remember that everything that got you there is what you've been doing. Just fall in love with the process. People just, the word strength
scares people.
It's like a naughty word.
Yeah, I think there's like there's so much attached to it, and it gets thrown about perhaps too loosely. But it can mean so many different things, and it can mean different to different people as well. It's like if you can press your body weight overhead for 1 rep, that's strong. If you can press half your body weight but for 12 reps, that's still strong. It's just different. Do you know what I mean? It's like comparing me being statically strong to a marathon runner. I would be suck at a marathon runner. Like I'd bail in the first half mile. But then a marathon runner would feel like they're going to snap lifting weights.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? But we're both strong just in different respects.
Yeah. It's again, strength is just such, as you said, it's such a spectrum. And we all need it. You need a certain level of cardio. It's how strong you need to be. How strong does your cardiovascular system need to be to do what you do? Actually, probably higher than you think. Stuff that we talked about before. But you're probably more focusing 80% on actual strength work, 20% on direct cardio. But in that, if you lift weights fast and pick up a heavy thing and run with it, that's going to get the whole nervous system working. You then have Olympic weightlifters who are incredibly explosive and strong for 1 or 2 reps. They're great. It's sport specific, and it's how strong do you need to be, and that's why the goal setting is so important of understanding the why.
Very individual.
Because if you need to be strong enough to go take care of your garden, then I'm still going to get you weightlifting. But it's going to be with a thing with an end in mind. I'm not going to take Ethel and make her try and squat 200. But I am going to push her 1 rep max. And she's going to be doing rep after rep after rep. Trap bar deadlifts, squats, holds, goblet squats, that sort of stuff. Things that make up any good strength program. She'll be doing that with a different end in mind. This might not be,
not try to break world records.
Exactly, but we'll break her records and we'll get her stronger, and we might not be blasting Creed and throwing chalk everywhere while we're doing it, but she might like that.
You never know.
Who knows?
Weird things have happened. But at the end of the day, they're just going to be better off for that. They're going to feel better. Life's going to be easier. Who did I talk to about this? I talked to someone recently about this. Like Laura, the stronger I feel like life's just easier to deal with. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like if I can push myself through that stuff, and I assume my body's feeling very capable and confident, then life's just that bit easier. Like, I can't imagine ever being weak, and I know it really annoyed me like having injuries that would be debilitating, and that I would just be wanting to push to get back to it again. I just can't imagine it. And I think that would be the same for a lot of people once they experience strength and feel better for it. It's hard to go back to not having that. Do you know what I mean? To something as simple as getting out your chair feeling like you're dying. Do you know what I mean? Being able to get up out your bed without creaking and groaning.
it's resilience for life, isn't it?
Yeah,
Strength.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. And that's why, again, we're taking the Physio MOT and we're taking what we do and moving it away from traditional physio. And
Yeah.
the amount, and what we're trying to do is really break up that pattern. Sometimes people come to us, so it's not so much now that we're bigger, but people would kind of go around the houses,
Okay.
they come to us and then be like, right, this is kind of my last chance to get fixed.
Yeah.
And we do. Our
Yeah.
reviews show that we are effective in what we do, and it's partly because of the use of data,
Yeah.
the understanding of the psychological aspect behind it as well. But it's just taking out that traditional physio of sit down, what's wrong, sore shoulder, here's shoulder exercises, go away. You've barely got your jacket off. You've maybe done that once or twice. You've talked for 2-3 minutes. You're in and out 15 minutes. Maybe in private healthcare, you're there for maybe half an hour, 40 minutes, and you've barely had hands on you. You've got what you feel and what you know is a generic program, because they've gone into shoulder pain on physio tools or whatever it is they use, and just given the same protocol to other people. And there's something to be said. General exercise is good, but we have to remember that people are coming to us because we're the expert. Same with you. People go to you because you're the expert in that. And the Physio MOT just allows us to show why we're the expert and show what we're doing is working.
And you get super specific on it. That's a big thing for me as well. Particularly, so I see it a lot around doctors, and I think what put me off going to physio for so long as well is I was expecting just that generic nonsense of nobody really taking me seriously, or just assuming that I'm just average person with no background into why I'm the way that I am. And whereas you guys get super specific, it's not a case of it's sore, just go rest. Do you know what I mean? Which tends to be what the doctors do. I kind of get it, because it's like a liability thing, so they don't want, like, if you go and do something, then it's your fault because they say not to. But that's not generally going to fix the problem. Do you know what I mean? Whereas this is specific. You guys have never told me to stop training, which is nice.
Well, you just go. If we did.
Just go do it anyway,
Exactly.
and then come back to get fixed again.
Exactly. And people, would look at you and say, well, either they would just go, this is just kind of a normal sort of big guy. It's fine. Or they would hear, I'm competing on the Scotland's Strongest Man circuit, and they'd shit themselves. They have no idea what to do. No idea.
Too specific for them.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, oh, Christ. Because physio does like to put itself as kind of strength and conditioning experts. You can learn that. I don't think you get that quite as much at the university level more. So it's a bit more of what we need to go. You need to kind of dive into that a little bit more outside of university, for sure. But you get someone who's on Strongest Man circuit and you go like, oh Christ, what is? Break it down. That's too big to think of. Like when we were at Rogue, there were some people were, what are these people going to be like? Human beings. They're going to be human beings with sore bodies and sore shoulders.
They're just a lot bigger.
Yeah, exactly. It's just massive.
Should make it easier though, right? No? It's like an enlarged...
like here is that muscle that you've read about in a book, but
you've never having the bold text on the phone.
Oh, exactly, Here's a muscle you've read about, but you've never seen, because these are the only people who've ever worked it.
That's brilliant. Let's talk about that, because that's insane, and a massive thing to come to Aberdeen as well. Hopefully coming back next year. That would be really good to see. Because we've kind of went from athletes to Gen Pop to back to athletes again, but I think
that's my day.
specifically for athletes, this Physio MOT is like, why would you not add that into your training? It tells you so much stuff, and I think even if you've not got anything wrong, it's worth finding out where you stand, what your body's doing, and then focusing on points that could improve other things, and that to understand the kind of level of athletes that you've dealt with, from hobbyists right up to Rogue, which is world standards, world's strongest people. And it wasn't just the strongest men either, was it? It was the and women. It was the CrossFit athletes as well. You were looking after. That's a lot of people, a lot of bodies.
A lot of them, and there's not one of them that wouldn't have benefited from doing this, because they're good with their training. They've got people that they work with and everything. But people are coming over asking a little bit about training and things, and injuries, and injury history, and obviously because that's what we were there for.
Yeah.
So being able to just have this set up and go, right, okay, well, let's take a few and go through a full assessment for anyone is valuable. From, like I said, from your weekend warriors to your elite athletes. Yeah. People can
absolutely
anyone can benefit from it. Anyone can benefit from it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you're hoping if Rogue comes back, hopefully you get a stall set up in the vendor village as well.
Yeah, we'd love that. Yeah.
So you see people
go through, give people a taster of what this Physio MOT is all about, and what can happen when you incorporate data with magic and expertise. It's going to be really cool. Yeah, it's a really cool thing. We're still sort of working out a little bit how we're going to deliver it, because in its early stages. Yeah, right now we're going to be making it an hour. All encompassing. Do the full thing, and then get you back after we go away, dissect it properly. Yeah. So you come back, we do the Physio MOT, you come back for a free autopsy session, and we say, this is it. You have a couple of ways that you can go. Okay, here's a few exercises, and you do your programming. Here's the programming that we can do online, and we keep up to date there. We can do weekly check-ins with your rehab, or you can come in and we can see you weekly for the next month, and then do another review at the end of that, kind of 4 to 5 weeks time. Are we progressing? Yes. Okay, let's go on to phase 2. And start to progress that on, so it becomes a diagnostic tool, and then it becomes a consistent analysis. And then you can stay with that as long as you like. But the idea is we want everyone to walk away and go, I've got the tools now, and I know what's going on. I feel a lot better, like you're saying, I feel better in my lifts, and going, well, I can do this myself now. And then what we can do is maybe check in again in 3-4 months. And see, am I still progressing? And there's no reason why this can't become a quarterly thing, or it's an MOT. Same as you do with your car every year. You check in, okay, let's look at my programming for the next 12 months or next quarter, however long you want to do it. Where some people would come 3-4 times a week. Really? Just because they like that sort of hand holding on this is, they don't have to think. They don't have to think. Everything is done for them. So, and then you get other people who come every month. Some people come every 3 months. It's just how independent you want to be with it. But it's always guided by the analysis.
I think that for me is, we were doing the initial test, and then doing the follow-ups. We've had 2 follow-ups, and the progress has been amazing between each, and it's pretty much like a really good place where we would expect it to be. I don't see that as the end though. So what I kind of want to do with that now is set like I don't know if you would label it maintenance or such, but what I'd like to see from the next one is I'm still keeping those gaps narrow, that everything's working the way it should, but it's getting stronger, it's progressing, and how much the training's going to progress now that there's not as much of a compensation, there's not as much difference between sides. That should help everything progress, go up the way. It should be a moving chart on the up from now.
Now that it's got to this point that things are symmetrical, we should notice things start to, you'll feel way more confident in ramping up your training. Because I know that this is one of the slight downsides, if we're going to say any downsides about the Physio MOT, is it might, highlighting weaknesses can make people a little bit nervous about training. And that's why we offer different levels of guidance. So if you're like you felt I'm okay. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
It's just a little bit weak. I'm gonna make this stronger. Some people might go, oh Christ, I'm quite weak. I need to, you know, what do I do? They might start to feel a bit fragile. So there's that potential negative side effect of it. But when they see that they're getting stronger, that goes away quickly.
Yeah, it's going to go quick, and I think it's understanding. Like we talked about strength being kind of a buzzword. The same with weakness. When you mention weakness, it's like, oh my God, you think you're going to snap as soon as you walk out. It's just not the case. It's relevant to everything else.
Yeah.
I fully accepted that I had weaknesses in my quad. Didn't mean that they were weak necessarily.
Yeah, just weaker than mine, but that's
I'm coming for that record. We'll see 2000 on that machine.
yeah, easy.
But relevant to the rest of my body, it was a weakness, and it's, you know, I've accepted that. I went away and worked on it, and now it's not. And now everything's up to par, and we're sweet.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think it's how you take it.
And it's about accepting it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing. It's just it's something that needs worked on. We had Lee Donald in, who's seventh woman who's gone to climb Everest. I think I got that right.
Yeah.
So we worked with her. I worked with her for a good few months on the lead up to it. Incredible journey of going from just climbing a Munro to a year later summiting Everest.
Wow.
Who does that?
Yeah. That's not your average person.
No, that's not. That's I kind of like, you know, you think you peaked too soon. No pun intended. But
completed that hobby.
Exactly. Yeah, you completed world exploring in a year. But we did a little kind of MOT with her, the movement and things, and again, bit of asymmetry side by side.
Yeah.
We noticed that kind of going in. So a bit of a left shoulder issue, and then we were like, well, it was again just calming it down, because when you're training for Everest, you can't take a couple of days off to let tendons heal and things. Like if it's done, it's going to be done. You'll get rest at base camp, that kind of thing. So we gave her stuff to do there. Kind of like when you were in camp, we can't change anything. You've got to get to the competition.
Yeah.
It's just about getting you there as good as possible. Which came back, we looked. There's quite a difference side by side. She came in testing on Tuesday, and that's, again, mostly gone away. Everything's gone up, but that gap has closed quite considerably. Little bit of work still to do, but again, it's all, she's like you, obviously, been training for years, personal trainer, lots of clients, very confident. We're very minimal in how we inform, we guide, but does the main work ourselves. So I just can't wait to do the video next year where it's ER Physiotherapy try strongman.
Yes.
You can get your own back on us. Said that
you're all weak.
Said that with Laura as well. I can't. We'll do ER Physiotherapy does yoga, like a yoga day.
That'd be good.
And she can laugh at me, snap in half.
She'll be very excited.
She's
She's trying to get me in as well.
In half, doing a log lift or something.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be
that
great
in
fun.
the diary.
No, that was it, man. Thanks.
Sweet. Yeah, appreciate your time, man. Thank you.
That's all.
When you get that grip test done as well.
I have stronger grip strength.